that. And more than 50 African heads of state and government are today set to sign the African Continental Free Trade Area in Kigali, Rwanda. The agreement is billed as the creation of the biggest free trade area since the foundation of the World Trade Organization. Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Monica Juma says this is a milestone towards eliminating trade barriers and hinder continental free trade. Industry, trade and cooperatives CS Adan Mohammed notes that African Continental Free Trade Area ratification will offer much more market opportunities across Africa.
The coming together of heads of states to sign the Continental Free Trade Area is quite significant for African countries in that it is the beginning of a journey to bring together African states as one economic trading bloc. The issue that this brings to the fore for countries like us, of course, is countries on their own are very small. We are 45 million people. We're very proud when we talk about East African community because that brings together about 150 million people. Now, through the signing of this Continental Free Trade Area, eventually when countries ratify these agreements, we will have access to 1 billion people across the whole 54 countries.
What we want to do is to really encourage our people and to encourage the institutions that deal with standards, because there's also going to be some discussions around the standards of goods and services, so that we can be able to help our farmers, because that's the starting point. You know, when they produce, whether it is farmers, whether it is small industries, even small-scale industrialists, whether it is even people down at the Juakali sector, because these implements are needed in other parts of the continent. So we are going to be to have the ability to move this. So the most important issue now is to make sure that transport is available to enable these goods to move from one region of the continent to another.
And now we join our reporter from Rwanda, Eugene Anangwe, who has been attending that and is here to give us an update on the summit.
Right in Rwanda, of course, the country is on sort of a standstill. Of course, the roads are on lockdown. Most of the main routes have actually been locked off, and public transport is actually on a snarl. Of course, to allow for the free movement of the leaders who have arrived right in Rwanda for the historic signing of the African Continental Free Trade Area that seeks to finally open Africa as a single market. Of course, we are expecting a very long day here, or based or looking at the program that we have right here. The sessions are supposed to actually kick off from around 9 a.m. local time. But of course, this session that will be taking place will include member states from the heads of the African Union organs and CEOs, representatives of civil society, African Development Board, rather African Development Bank, and of course, this session is going to be looking at the adoption of the draft agenda and the draft program of works, and it is expected to take about 5 minutes. And the president of Niger, His Excellency Mahamoud Assoufou, is supposed to be speaking on the African Continental Free Trade Area. He's expected to have a 15-minute speech, and then later on there will be consideration and adoption of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the legal instruments. Definitely, this will be a very important session because it is those legal instruments or the provisions that African states that are actually signing to this are expected to be sharing with each other to just understand what it really means, the legal mechanisms, the process of following through this agreement that actually, in a nutshell, will allow 90% of the locally produced products in the African countries to freely be traded across African countries that will have signed this agreement at zero duty. Of course, the fears were that countries are going to lose out on the income that they have been receiving on the import duty that now will not be there after this agreement is signed, or among the countries that will agree to this. Of course, there will be also free movement of people. This is expected to see a flow of labor across the African continent. Those with the skills, let's say from Kenya, crossing into the countries that have actually ratified this or will have agreed to this agreement. But the fears also have been that the big economies like Nigeria has not actually signed up to this, or will not be signing up to this, at least not for now, with the president of Nigeria saying that he still has to have more consultations with the business stakeholders back there in Nigeria. And so, we have countries feeling that they have taken a lot of time to create their economies, only for them to open them up for competition from other African countries. So these trust issues, these issues of competition coming in to actually compete with the local products is something that is seen as not an easy thing to give up by some of the African countries. So we'll be keeping you up to date as far as this signing of the African Continental Free Trade Area, a big event indeed in the history of Africa. We'll keep you posted as soon as we get the information. Back to you.